This is Sean with Nashville, Indiana Stories, and I'm speaking with Tyson Crowell. How you doing, Tyson?
Good. How are you?
So we're here in your Jiu-Jitsu studio, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be exact, and it's down here in Nashville, Indiana. And you also just had a birthday, is that right?
Oh, yes, I did.
50 years old.
Yep, the big 5-0.
How are the joints feeling?
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
All right, so you also have a background in firefighting, is that right?
Yes, I do.
And that's based up in Indianapolis?
Yes, in Pike Township.
In Pike Township. And how many years have you been helping, save the people?
18 years old. I'll have completed 18 years in August.
18 years in August. All right.
Almost there.
So when did you move down to Nashville?
This past October.
And what was the reason you wanted to come down here?
Me and my wife been looking for the last 2 years, and just because closer I get to retirement, we wanted to retire down in this area, and we came from Brownsburg, and it was exploding. So we thought, well, our kids are out of school, time to move, and let's kind of settle down here because we were visiting here all the time anyway. So we're like, probably save money if we just moved here.
And we are currently in the YMCA.
It's sits right behind the IGA, and everybody kind of knows where the IGA is. So if you see the IGA and just kind of turn there and head straight back, you'll run right into it.
And 46 is right out here, correct?
Right out in front.
Yeah, 46, and that leads right into town. So we're basically just east of downtown Nashville.
Yes.
On 46, just a couple blocks over. All right, so it's complete submission. And what's the reason you chose that name?
I kind of wanted to base it more on to go along with my background as a Christian, just as, being completely submitted, but also learning the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, being completely submitted to that as well, and learning the submissions the way they're supposed to be learned and the way they're supposed to be taught, because the way they're being taught now by some people is just not the way that the Gracies intended it to be taught. Good job. Perfect.
And are there, I know obviously different ages, people can come in to do training at different points in their life, but what's a usual beginning age for someone?
Usually we would say around 6 to 7. I do have a young kid in my class who's 5, and he catches on really well. It kind of depends on how well they retain and how well they're attentive, and how well their attention span is. Some kids at 5 are attentive, and then some are. They could always come in, try a class. If it works for them, sign up. If not, then bring them back a little later once they're able to kind of focus a little more. But that's kind of what this class teaches. It kind of teaches them to focus and teaches them how to concentrate and keep their attention and listen.
So something I found pretty interesting, everybody knows in martial arts you have the colored belt ranking of education.
Yes.
and levels of completion. So you've got white, blue, purple, brown, and black. And you said it usually takes about 2 years to go through each belt level. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's at least 2 years, because usually you have 4 stripes per belt, and usually you get 1 stripe every 6 months if you're showing up and you're training a lot and you're putting in the effort, putting in the work. But then there could be times that you might not get promoted just because of you weren't showing up, you weren't here, you weren't learning. The belts in Jiu-Jitsu are never just given. You have to earn them. And in the kids, they cannot get a black belt. It's kind of set up so you can't get a black belt till you're in your 20s. And the kids can't even get the blue belt, adult blue belt, till they're 16. So it's kind of set up to where, we know that they're able to take care of themselves, defend themselves, and they're at that age where they can understand that at the same time.
And if you were going to put kind of a classification on 3 levels of benefit from mind, body, and daily motivation, how do you classify that for someone that goes through the class? Besides learning the skill itself, what other mental or life attributes do they gain from going through this?
I think, especially with Jiu-Jitsu, it teaches you a lot about life. It teaches you how to be patient in a stressful situation, because in other arts that I've trained, like stand-up arts, kickboxing and stuff, you can keep distance and you can kind of keep timing, where you're in Jiu-Jitsu and you're on the mat and there's somebody on top of you. You have to be patient. You have to not freak out, lose your breath, gas yourself, because a lot of times guys will do that. you have to learn just to be calm in the storm and wait it out and be patient and just defend and have like an offensive defense.
All right. So as they're growing together, you're putting them also with other partners to learn from maybe people that have been doing it longer. Do you
Yes.
also do that as well?
Yes. So yeah, we usually will have higher ranks roll with the lower ranks so they can kind of help teach the lower ranks as they're doing, going through the move, going through the sweep, or going through the submission. But when it comes to, we actually, at the end of class, we actually physically roll with, so that's where you get with a partner and you're doing jiu-jitsu basically 100%, and they're trying to sweep you, they're trying to submit you, and you're doing the same. And that's where it kind of puts people to the test, and you got to learn to control yourself and have that self-control that it takes when you're on the mat.
All right. So speaking of mentors, you've had 3 key individuals that have helped you learn throughout the years. The first one was, what is he? Was Navy SEAL Kenny Bigby?
Yeah, I trained with Kenny basically from my white belt to my purple belt, and I trained with him at Dragonfly MMA in Plainfield, Indiana, and then I taught his kids class there as well, and so he was a top student of Marcelo Montero, who's out of Indianapolis as well, and so that's who I trained with probably the first 6 years of my training, and then I moved on. I had some schedule changes and things in life happened, so I was purple belt, thought I might never get my black belt, but then I met a guy in Brownsburg who had just started his school, and so I transferred over his school, and the hours worked perfectly for me in my new schedule. And
Was that Nick?
That was Josh O'Brien.
That was Joshua?
And I stayed with him basically until I moved here, and we're both under Nick Polero. That's who I got my black belt under. I got my black belt 2 years ago in July, so exactly 2 years ago under Nick.
Would you say there's a decent amount of people in law enforcement or in emergency rescue as far as fire that also train in these areas?
Well, in the classes that I took, yes, because Nick Polero is an instructor at the Police Academy in Plainfield. He's a retired Valparaiso police officer. So he teaches there as well. And so most of the guys I trained with were police officers. Most guys in Brownsburg were police officers. So I trained a lot with police officers, but then I've trained with, when I was in Plainfield under with Kenny, trained with a lot of just everyday Joes, construction workers, plumbers, all, you name it. So it's really across the gamut, but a lot of officers in this area I know do train in jiu-jitsu, and I think it's very should be almost, I think, required for officers to get that type of training.
All right. So if you were just going to tell somebody who's interested and doesn't have any real background in it, besides the actual, confidence and understanding the muscle movements and everything else, mentally, what do you think they really get out about gaining this for their life?
I think, especially with jiu-jitsu, because, like I said, other arts I've done, you have to have the flexibility. You have to be able to kick and do things that some people just don't have that flexibility to do. Where jiu-jitsu, you can always find something that works for you. You might need, what you're doing might not work for somebody else. They might have a different build, but you could always find something for your game and how you play the game. And we call it chess on the mat. And that's basically what it is. And you're trying to be just moves ahead of your partner. And that's how anybody can play this game. And it doesn't matter your build, your age. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 38, and I got my black belt at 48. And so if doesn't matter when you start, the key we say is just show up and do your best. And don't try to be better than anyone else. Just try to be better than you were the day before.
Do you ever have maybe fathers and sons
Oh yeah,
come together?
In fact, I have three. I have 3 families now that come all together. So I have husband and wife, and they bring their kids, come to kids class, and then when their kids are done, then they train. And I have basically 3 families like that do that.
I'm sure that a lot of people also use it for kind of mental therapy, from maybe hard jobs, hard work,
Absolutely.
situations. They come in and they can release.
Absolutely. And that's, jiu-jitsu, you will release because it's a very physical art. But it's like I said, it's intended to be for all people, and I teach more of the street self-defense of jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of schools out there that are just kind of teaching the competition because it's big right now with the competition, and not that that's wrong. If guys want to compete, I'll support them and we'll go. But I also teach them the self-defense aspect of it because that's, to me, just as important, if not more important.
Right. And what's your email where they can contact you?
Right now, the email, they can contact my personal email. That's TysonCrowell@yahoo.com.
And then the phone number?
317-457-4627.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your dedication to helping people better themselves mentally and physically. And I know you're, going to enjoy the calmer lifestyle down here in Nashville than Indianapolis.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, I love it. My wife loves it. And we're, since we've been here, we met more people than when we lived up there. So it's a nice small community where kind of everybody knows everybody and everybody helps everybody out. And that's kind of what we were looking for.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck on your road ahead. And again, we're going to be showcasing this as well at NashvilleIndianaStories.com. But Tyson, happy birthday. And I hope you grow your business down here and even expand it into other markets down in these areas.
Oh, thank you very much.
You got it.